has to do with dollars and quantities. If you're in the second quadrant right here, that means you suck as a businessman because you're in the loss. So I don't really care about that X-Intercept, but I do care about this Vertex and this X-Intercept over here. So I'm just going to zoom out one more time because I'll show you why I'm zooming out again. I want to be able to get this first quadrant. I want to get this. So I'm going to go zoom, box, and I'm going to make sure I get that first quadrant. That's all I care about right there. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the vertex. So second, trace. Well, Hubert, what's the question asked? I don't care what the question's asked. I want to know what the vertex is, and I want to know what the X-intercept is. After that, I'll go back to the question. Okay, so there's my vertex. So I'm going to draw a little sketch of what I got right there. And my vertex is 9.5, comma, 2.04, 2.05. That's my vertex. And my X-intercept. So I hit second, trace, 0. And I'm going to put 1 above it. And then I'm going to put 1 below it. And I'm going to put 1 near it. And that X-intercept is 54.75, comma, 0. And of course, our Y-intercept is 0, comma, 1.957. Okay, now my picture right here, that's basically everything I can get from the calculator without going into a lot of stuff. Okay, so that's just finding things that you can find on the calculator. Now let's see what the question asks. All right, it says find and interpret the vertex of the graph. Well, the vertex is 9.5. Now I'm just doing 9.5 and 2.05. It says round to 3 decimal places. I'm not doing it, but there it is, 9.500 and 2.047, okay? So make sure you read the directions. Okay, now it says it's going to be a maximum because the vertex here is a maximum. So you can count out A and B. And remember, X is what? Number of years after 15. So that basically says 10 years after 2015. In 2025, the number of barrels is going to be 2.05 billion barrels. So whichever one says that, it looks like to me it says right there. Okay, the model predicts crude. Okay, what does it say? What does the model predict crude oil will be in 2038? Okay, well, let's go here. 2038 minus, what was it, 2015? Yeah, 2015. 8 minus, that's 3, and 3 minus 1 is 2. So X is equal to 23. So you go to your handy dandy tracer, or you go to your window or table So pull up your handy dandy calculator and look for X is equal to 23. Ding! 23 is 1.865. 1.865. So in 2038, you're going to have 1.865 billion barrels of oil. So type that in, if I can find it. 1.865. And of course, just asking what it looks like. Well, you know it's going down. So that one is either, this one's going up. So that one's concave up. That one's concave up. So it's either this one, which that's below. This is above. I believe it's probably this one. I may be wrong, but and that's it. Good test question. But as you can tell, I did not ask you to do this by hand. If I were to do it by hand, I would use the quadratic formula, but I'm not even asking you to do that because it's still too tedious. Just do it on a calculator. Hopefully you will be able to do that. And that's why I included the calculator on here. So if you're confused, you can watch the video and you can go back and forth and see what I did to use the calculator. All right, that's that question. Next, this is 3.157/16. First of all, is it a test question? Oh, yeah. Anything having to do with product, anything having to do with economics, anything having to do with stuff like, reading a graph, yes. The profit or product can be blah, blah, blah. P of X is equal to this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to graph that. So Y is equal, clear, negative X squared plus 202X minus 5,500. And graph. And that's not going to help. So I'm going to do a zoom fit again. All right, that gives us an indication, so I can zoom out now. Zoom out. Put that almost in the center. There we go. I'm going to take my zoom window or zoom box, and I'm going to make sure I cover the Y-intercept and the X-intercepts. And enter. So now we've got a graph that's concave down again. And it looks something like this. And we've got a Y-intercept of negative 5,500. And I'm going to go ahead and take the vertex, find it. So second trace, calculate the maximum. That's a good spot. That's a good spot. And enter. So my vertex is 101. comma, 4701. Now you need to write down the decimals because they may ask you to round to a certain decimal. I'm just going to put in 101 and 4701 because I'm the teacher and I can do that. All right, so second trace, let's find the X-intercept. And I'm going to put a left-hand bound right there and a right-hand bound right there. And a guess. 169.56. 169.56 and 0. Okay, now we've got three of the only things we can find without. Okay, there it is. To maximize profit, units must be produced and sold. So the maximum is going to be 4701. Okay. Let's see what they got. They might have rounded. I don't know. Oh, they wanted the X. I'm sorry. And the output would be 4701. I'm sorry. All right, so there's the vertex, and that's it. That's a good test question. Calculator drill. This is a good test question. Next. 3.161/18. All right. In 480 feet of fence, 480 feet of fence is all you got. And the area of the pen is X times negative X plus 240. Well, I better write it like they've got it. X times 240 minus X. What is the maximum area? Well, let's go ahead and set this equal to that. So X times 240 minus X is equal to 480. Distribute 240X minus X squared is equal to 480. And I'm going to bring this X squared over here. So that'll be a positive X squared and a minus. So 0 is equal to X squared minus 240X plus 480. And you could graph this if you wanted to. I'm just going to graph it. You could use complete the square if you wanted to, but I would graph it. So let's graph it because they're wanting the maximum. So y is equal to X squared delete. I should have cleared the whole thing. Clear. Oh, Lord. Second, quit. Y is equal. And clear. There we go. And that's going to be, we might want to leave it negative X squared. Yeah, let's leave it negative X squared. So negative X squared plus 240X minus 480. And graph. Wow. Zoom, fit. Well, the vertex is all we're interested in. So second trace, not the vertex, the maximum. So that vertex is 120. 120, comma, 13,920. That's your vertex. So let's see what the question's asking. Is this a quadratic? Yes. The maximum possible area of the pen, would be 13,920. Okay, I must have. Ooh, they got 14.4. I wonder what I did wrong. I did something wrong. Let's see. X times 240 is 240x. Negative x squared equals. Wait a minute. Yeah. Oh. I bet I didn't plug back in. Let's see. My x, what was my x on my vertex? Is 120. So I got to plug that back in. I bet you that's it. See, this is the perimeter. So I just found x is 120. That's the most area. Now I got to plug that in here because x is 120 and x plus negative 120, let it be 120 also. And 120 times 120 is the maximum area. So I must have didn't plug it in. So 120 times 120. There it is, 14,400. Is that what they got? Yeah, I didn't plug it back in. Let me show you what I did. Say, this is the perimeter of the fence. This is how much fencing you got. So when you set that equal to this, you're getting an X dimension. A side. And the other one is negative X plus 240, but you come out with the same thing. So I got 120 for X. And then 120, if you plug 120 in here, you get 120 here also. So 120 times 120 is 14.4. So I just forgot to plug back in. Sorry. Let's see what else they ask. Is that it? Yeah. So after you do the quadratic and you find your vertex, you have to plug this X. We got X is equal to 120. You got to plug that X back into here and do it by here. You got to plug it in there and plug it in there and then multiply the two. And that is This is the maximum. That's, yeah, that's what that's finding. So take that 120 and plug it in here and plug it in here, and you get 120 times 120, which is the 14.4. Ooh, that was a little bit confusing. Y'all settle down, please. 3.16519. And let's go ahead and plug this one in. Negative y is equal to negative 1.55x squared plus 73.5x minus 35.1. And we'll blow that up, zoom, box. And there we go. Now we know the y-intercept is negative 35. And the x-intercepts, we don't know those. We can find them. But I want that vertex first. You get y is equal to maximum. And move to the left. And move to the right. And the center. So that vertex is 23.709674. 23.709674, comma 836.23065. Okay, and it's not D, and it's not A, so chances are it's one of these two. Now, my vertex says 836. Well, that's a little bit close to 900 right there, and this one looks better. I think it's Charlie. Parentheses 23 point, and they want 3 significant digits. Well, technically that'd be 23.7, comma 836. Explain the meaning of coordinates on the vertex from part A and B, or part B, in the context of application. Well, the years after 2010 is 24. So in the year 2034, the e-commerce sales will be at 836 million. I guess, yeah, million. So what I say in 2034, well, I'm looking. I'd say maximized right here, 836 million in 2034. That's a good question. I like that question. That's a good test question. I think y'all are starting to see that the calculator will tell you a whole lot more than you thought. All right, 3.2, 35/18. Complete the square. Okay, here we go. Here we go now. Dang old SpongeBob song. X squared minus 8x plus blank is equal to 1 plus blank. Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. X minus 4, quantity squared, is equal to 17. What do they want you to do? Complete the square to solve. That means they want the X-intercepts. I don't know what the heck this is. I'm going to finish it and then we'll worry about answering the question. All right, so our vertex is 4, negative 17. Our y-intercept is 0. What is that? 1? Be a negative 1? Yeah, negative 1. And let's find our x-intercepts. X minus 4 is equal to positive or negative square root of 17. X is equal to positive or negative square root of 17, sorry. Plus 4. And for our purposes, square root of 16 is 4.1. So X is equal to positive or negative 4.1. And that's going to be 8.1. And negative 4.1 plus 4 is negative 0.1. So this graph looks like 8.1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Negative 0.1, 1.1 be right there. Y-intercept is 0, negative 1, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 17. And that's the graph. Now let's see what they ask. Choose the appropriate process for rearranging. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess it would be this right here. X squared plus 8x plus 16. There we go. The solution set, type exact. So that's going to be positive or negative square root of 4, or I'm sorry, square root of 17 plus 4. Oops, hold on. 17 plus 4, comma, negative or positive square root of 17 minus 4, or plus 4. That should be your answer. I'm going to put parentheses around it. That should be your answer. Okay, I don't know what's wrong. Let's see what they get. Oh, give me a break. Now that's a good, okay, that would be a good, you see my question, you see my answer? Okay, that would be a good challenge question because they said write it in exact answer. I did, using radicals, using integers or fraction for any numbers. Okay, there's no difference between what I did, negative 17 plus 4, negative 17 plus 4, and 4 plus square root of 17. So it's the right answer. And let's talk about that. When do we challenge a question on a test? How do we go about doing that, class? That means I want y'all to say something. How do you challenge a test question in my class? How do you do that? Do you write 55,000 emails, or do you ask to see me after class?
Oh, ask to see after class.
Ask to see me after class. Because I ignore emails about that. Because I've already told you it's the first day of class, or first week of class. That's how you challenge a question. You come see me after class. Okay, next question. Okay, help you, or do you want me to go over it again?
Sorry, did you ask me? There was a lag. I didn't hear.
I'm sorry, what?
I didn't hear you. There was a lag in my connection.
Okay, I don't know what's wrong with my internet. I think it's my internet.
No, it's my side. I have really bad internet here.
Okay. Miss Babinow, that was the same question you asked. You want me to go over it again?
I'm okay. I understand it.
You do? Did you say you understood it?
Yeah, I understand it.
Okay. All right. Next one. 3.237/21. There you go. Now I'm going to give y'all a second to start on this one. Now we did fractions. Remember, how do you do fractions? Well, you just write 13 over 2. And then you square it, be 169 over 4. But I'm going to give y'all a second to get started on it. I'm going to write it down on my page here, because this is a test question. X squared minus 13x plus blank is equal to negative 42 plus blank. I'm going to give y'all 3 minutes to get it started. Three minutes. Now, the reason I wanted to test you a little bit on this one is this is one that has a fraction, and you should be pretty much okay with it. I showed you how to do several with a fraction, so you should be okay with it. So 13 divided by 2, square it, 169 over 4. And that's going to give you shortcut number 2. Well, I'm going to have to change this into, let's see, 4 times, that'd be 168. Somebody check that for me. So that's going to be negative 168 over 4 plus 169 over 4. That's going to be 1 over 4. Now, there's 2 things that I'm assuming that you knew when you did this. Well, 3 things. What are the 3 things? 1, I expect for you to know how to deal with fractions. You should be able to take 13 divided by 2 and square it, okay? The second thing, you got to know your shortcuts. Shortcuts number 1 or 2. Okay, that's those things that you learned back in Algebra 1 and 2, and the teacher told you to make sure you learned them. And 3, you need to be able to find a common denominator. Those are the 3 things that you need to be able to do right there. Now, if you suck at any of them, you need to fix it before the test. Because if one thing I'm going to make sure you know how to do before you get out of here is completing the square. So my vertex and my y-intercept is 0.42. And my vertex is 13 halves, negative 1/4. Now I'm going to solve it. X minus 13 halves is equal to positive or negative 1/2. X is equal to positive or negative 1 plus 13 over 2. 1 plus 13 is 14 divided by 2 is 7. Negative 1 plus 13 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So there's our 2 X-intercepts. Wow, that's going to be something's not right. Something's not right. Hold on, 13 halves. 13 halves is 6.5. 6.5 in the X direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. And negative 1/4. Okay. All right. The reason I thought it was odd is those are so close together, but since the vertex is right below, that would be right. And 42 is right here. So 0.42 is right there. And yes, I'm drawing it a little bit out of wampus because this is so small. There we go. So it's going to look something like that. So they probably want the X-intercepts. Type using a radical, use commas to separate. So 6, 7. Well, my number locked. Oh, come on. 6, 6. Okay, for some reason my 6 don't work on my number lock. 7. That's a good test question. Straightforward, simple, sweet.
Could I ask a question about how you answered that?
Yeah.
Back on your notes, if you don't mind.
What about?
It's very minor, but how do you know if it's positive or negative where you write x minus 13/2 squared?
Okay, where?
It's you took the square root of it. It's parentheses x minus 13 squared over 2. I mean
Right
to the
here?
second power. Yeah. How do you know if it's positive or negative?
Always. It's always
No, no, no,
positive or negative.
No, in the parentheses, x minus.
Oh, on this side.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
Shortcut.
I never know if it's either positive or negative.
Depends on what this one is. If that's negative, this is going to be negative. If that's positive, that's going to be positive.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
very
shortcut
minor
number.
detail, but I don't know.
Shortcut number 1 and 2.
Okay.
And don't feel bad. A lot of people go through pre-algebra, algebra 1, and algebra 2, and they tell the teacher says, you need to learn these. And the students go, oh, well, I'll just do reverse FOIL, or I'll just, and they don't learn them. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying you hadn't learned them. What I'm
No,
saying
I don't feel bad at all. I just didn't know.
What?
I didn't feel bad at all. I'm just trying to learn.
Well, a lot of people don't learn the shortcuts, and a lot of people just learn them just to get by. And the truth is, when you're in algebra, when you're in pre-algebra, algebra 1, and algebra 2, those shortcuts are one of the most important things to learn. And they follow you all the way up to differential equations if you're in math that long. And you got to know them. And the reason that's a negative is because that's a negative. This is a negative because that's a negative. If this was a plus, that would be a plus.
Okay.
So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that'll help me. As minor as it is, it's gonna help me a lot.
Yeah, remember, it's only gonna be one or two. So that's positive and negative. It's gonna be one of those two.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, next question. And that was a good test question because it's short and sweet. Let's see if this is another one. That's the same one. Okay, so Mr. Melnick, is that good? Was that your question?
Yes, it was.
Okay. You want me to do this one, or are you good with it?
Sorry, there's a video lag. Like, I hear your voice before I see the screen.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do you want me to do this question, or are you good with it?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to delete both of those. All right, this is 3.2, 55/27. 55/27. And I apologize. I don't know what's up with, I'm not getting any errors that my internet's bad, but it could be.
No, it's my internet. I'm going off of a hotspot right now.
Okay, the graph of the function ax squared plus bx plus c for different values a, b, and c for the given function. Determine if the discriminant is positive, negative, or 0. Well, okay, first of all, don't even look at this. All right, look over here and let's look at this equation. All right, let's look at this guy. I'm blowing it up where y'all can see it. Okay, we know that the vertex is positive 2, and let's see, this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we got a horizontal shift of 2 to the right, so that would be -2. So our vertex is, I'm going to just write this down. Let me go here. Let me make this smaller. Okay, let me draw this. Okay, this is 5. And this looks like -1. And that y-intercept looks like 2, 4, 5. That looks like -5. And this vertex is 2. and -9. So our vertex is 2 to the right, which is negative, and, well, be positive 2 to the right. Yeah, 2 to the right, which that means when we plug it into the thing, it'll be negative. And -9. There's our vertex. So if we were to rewrite this, it would be f of x is equal to, parentheses, x minus 2, quantity squared, minus 9. There is our equation. Now I'm going to pick a point, and I'm going to pick something that is easy to see. And one that I think is easy to see is that 0, 5 right there. I mean, 5 and 0, X-intercept right here, I'm going to pick that point, 5, 0. I'm going to pick that point. And I'm going to plug in a 0 right here. Equals A times 5 minus 2, quantity squared, minus 9. 0 is equal to A. 5 minus 2 is what? 3. 3 squared is 9. And 9A is equal to 9. A is equal to 1. So we know A is equal to 1. So now I'm going to rewrite this and say, since that's a 1, I don't have to rewrite it. We're just going to do this right here. So f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 4 minus 9. That's shortcut number 2, which gives us this. And that's going to be f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 4 minus 9 is -5. And that is our equation for this blue graph. Oh, I'm sorry. The discriminant will be positive because you have how many x-intercepts? You have 2 x-intercepts, so that's positive. How many real solutions are indicated by the graph? 2 x-intercepts. The solution f of x is equal to 0. Where is y equal to 0? At -1 and +5. -1 and +5. That's your x-intercepts. And that's it. So I didn't need any of this. Oh well. Just write that down as information for your notes. Okay. They just asked about the vertex, and that's the discriminant. That's a good test question because it's not that difficult. .255, 3.267/32. The total function, revenue function, R is equal to 330x, and the total cost function is C is equal to blah, blah, blah. Break even, they're going to ask when it's profit. I know you're going to set this equal to each other for one thing. I don't know if they asked you form the profit function from this product for this product from the 2 given functions. What is the profit? Okay. Total revenue is blah, 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 and the total cost is blah, 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 where C is measured in dollars. For both functions, the input X is the number of units. I would expect they're going to set them equal to each other. Let me see if that's what you're going to do. Oh, they're subtracting. Okay, they're subtracting. All right, so we're going to subtract revenue minus the cost. We're going to subtract the revenue minus the cost. So with that being said, so 330x minus parentheses 3,000 plus 20x plus x squared. That's basically profit, P of x. So 330x minus 3,000 minus 20x minus x squared. And that's equal to P of x. And 330 minus 20 is 310. So that's going to be 310 minus 3,000 minus x squared is equal to P of x. Well, I'm going to turn this around because I don't like looking at it like that. So I'm going to say P of x is equal to negative x squared plus 310x minus 3,000. Now, I would graph that because they're probably going to ask you questions about that function. So I'm going to graph it, and I'm going to get y is equal, clear, negative x squared plus 310x. I do that every single time. Negative x squared plus 310x minus 3,000. And graph. And I'm going to zoom out. Okay, got to zoom out some more. There it is. Now I'm going to zoom block, zoom box. There it is. And of course, you might want to find the X-intercepts and the Y-intercept. So, well, the Y-intercept is negative 3,000. So let's find the vertex. Second trace. In fact, let's find the 0. Second trace. 0. And I'll go ahead and find this X-intercept over here. That X-intercept is 10, so I'm going to graph this. So that X-intercept is 10. This is negative 5,000. That's 10. Vertex, second trace, maximum. There's the left. There's the right. Vertex right in there. Vertex is 155 and 21,025. 155 comma, 21025. And then the next X-intercept, second trace, 0. Now, of course, I wouldn't do this on a test, okay? I would do this on homework problems, but on a test, you want to do exactly what it's asking, okay? I'm just doing this. I don't know who that is. That's 300, comma 0. All right, so we've gotten all this information from the calculator. Now let's see what the question's asking. From the profit function for this product from the two given functions, from the profit function for this, okay, I don't understand what A says. Oh, they want the function. Okay, so that's going to be negative x squared plus 310x minus 3,000. That's 3,000, sorry. And that should be your answer. When 7 units are produced and sold, 7 units. Well, let's see. Units should be X. Okay, so let's look at 7 units. Let's pull up our handy dandy calculator and look for second table. Let's go find 7 units. 7 is negative 879. There is a loss of, I forgot what I said, 879. $18 units, go back to the handy dandy calculator, 18 units. A profit of $22.56. And the number of units that must be sold to break even on this product, I would say 155. Unless they want you to is it 10? Okay, I'm set the profit. Oh, equal to 0. We got to set that equal to 0. Oh, that's the X-intercepts. So, comma 300 should be 10, comma 300. There we go. Remember, break even on this chart is your X-intercepts. I like that question. That's a good question. It's a good test question. And you should feel good about yourself. Ms. Hollister, did that help you out?
Yes, sir, it did. Thank you.
All right, this 3.267, is this the same one? Did we just do that one?
Yeah, I think
that's the same one. Yeah. So y'all can look over that one, go over the video and rewind it. You can understand how to do that one. This one down here is 3.27/7. Okay, you can do factoring, or you can do, you want to, okay, we're going to do reverse FOIL. So 3t squared minus 19t plus 20 is equal to 0. This is reverse FOIL. So you know the first one's going to be 1t and 3t because 3 is prime and there's no way y'all can screw that up. Okay, because there's no other numbers that will give you a 3 other than 1 times 3. So that's pretty much done. You can't mess that up. Now, 1 and 10 will give you 20. 1 and 20. 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. Now I'm going to put a 4 here, a little 4 there, and a little 5 here. Outside and inside always gives you the middle term. Well, that's going to be a 5 and a 12. 5 and 12 won't work, so I'm going to flip them. Put a 5 right here and a 4 right there. 4 and 15, that'll give us 19. So T and 5, 3T and 4. And this one, take my pink marker, this one has to be negative. So that means between the outside and the inside, the biggest number has to be negative. So 15 is negative. And I'm going to put a negative because that's what that means. And this number is positive, so that means that it's got to be like. So if this one's negative, then this one's negative. So your answer is T minus 5 times 3T minus 4. So T minus 5, parentheses, T minus 5, close parentheses, open parentheses, 3T minus 4, close parentheses. And the solutions, well, T minus 5 is equal to 0, that's a 5. And be a 4 4/3. And 4/3 comes first because we read from left to right. 4/3, comma. Oh, come on. Parentheses, 4/3, comma, well, comma, and 5. And it probably don't want the parentheses, so I'm just going to hit check answer. Yeah, they don't want the parentheses. When you put the parentheses, they don't want it. When you don't put the parentheses, they want it. So, whatever. And that's the homework questions for this section. So that means everybody should be able to finish 3.1 and 3.2. Now, I want to cover a little bit of 3.3. Notice I'm going to 3.3. Why am I going to 3.3? Well, because, I'm probably going to skip 3.4 and 3.5, and we're probably going to have a test on 3.1 through 3.3. So you might want to write that down. Okay. Now, 3.3 is on power and root functions. So let me get my handy dandy page here. 3.3 is power and root functions. Most of this will be calculator questions. There may be a few by hand, but as far as the graphs, they will be mostly calculator questions. You also need to remember your family of graphs and your vertical and horizontal shifts and all that good stuff. So if I give you f of x is equal to 2 to the x plus 4, and then minus 5, well, you know that you've got a horizontal shift of 4 to the left and 5 down. So some of that stuff hasn't changed. Square root, same thing. F of x is equal to the square root of x plus 2 minus 6. Well, you got negative 2, left 2 places, and down 6 places. So those things that you learned with horizontal and vertical shift, they still apply, except that they're written a little bit different. Also, the domain will be affected with a radical. When you have a radical and it's an even, your domain is going to be affected. So on your family of graphs, you better go ahead and remember that the root function and the square root function and the exponential function, they all going to look like kind of the same thing. If you was to take your handy dandy calculator and do clear second quit, y is equal to clear 2 to the x power. And then do square root of x. So square root second, I can't see on this calculator, square root of x and graph. Oh, zoom standard, zoom. Zoom 6. There's the, and there's the, they're kind of like inverses, almost inverses of each other. So you would add this to your family of graphs. That's f of x is equal to 2 to the x power. And the y is equal to the square root of x. Looks like that. So that's 2 more that you need to add to your family of graphs. A power function and a root function. I think I already had that root function on there. What does a cube root look like, Hubert? Well, go ahead and write it down. A cube root, add this to your family of graphs. Your cube root is going to look like that. And that would be f of x is equal to an odd root of x. So if you was to graph that one, y is equal to, and I'll just do the third root. I'm going to do x. I'm going to do it the easy way. X to the parentheses 1 divided by 3 and graph. There it is. So it looks like this. Let me take out the other two so you can see it. Clear and clear. Oops. I think I've gone over. Yes, I have. Sorry. Let me shut her down. Sorry about that. Let me shut this off and shut down the recording. And